taking place and if they can have any ideas for their own. For instance, we saw when Uzbekistan twinned with the whole process of involving parliamentarians, they included then ultimately in part of the terms of reference for their SDG monitoring process an explicit role for Parliament. And they're actually adopting this now and adapting it for their second VNR. And I think at the HLPF, if you do twin with a country, it gives you a little bit more exposure. It enables you to share how the twinning program has helped you. And I think the importance of South-South cooperation is something that is interesting for other regions. So as I mentioned, there has been discussion in the Africa region. They want to move forward in twinning some of the countries there. And I think this has been an innovative tool. So as a final slide, let me just provide you some resources here on the Sustainable Development Data Gateway that we have at SCAP. We have a very interesting policy brief on the voluntary national reviews. And we sent out invitations to the Ministries of Foreign Affairs of our member states last week, inviting to the APFSD. And I hope that we'll be seeing some of you there in Bangkok, 27th to 30th of March to attend the 10th APFSD, which will be held in person this year. So please come to Bangkok and join us. Thank you very much.
Right on time, Mr. Patterson. Thank you very much for an extremely insightful presentation and for adding to our knowledge about voluntary national reviews. Thank you very much. Before I proceed, I would like to introduce to you all and welcome Mr. Faisal Mushtaq, who is the founder and CEO of the Millennium Universal College. Thank you, sir, for joining us today at this panel. Now, I'd like to invite Mr. Ali Kamal for his presentation. In the interest of time, sir, I'd request you to please restrict your intervention to 10 minutes. Thank you, sir. Over to you.
Thank you very much. And may I have my presentation if there is? Salman. Thank you. So I'll skip. Can I skip the slides myself? Okay. So welcome to all the participants and all the distinguished guests from Southwest countries and UNESCAP. It's a UNESCAP event at the this is the 6th Southwest Forum, and last time we were at the Sri Lanka. Many friends who came there are present here as well, and I welcome them all. Arvind, there's Munir Islam Saab, sir, and I haven't met the Bhutan from Bhutan. So we are having 8 to 9 countries present in the hall. So you can interact with them. It's no signal. You can interact with them, and you will have lots of discussion, lots of exposure while you're talking to them. Because in the twinning program, as explained by Oliver, that we had last year, so we had very fruitful discussion with Sri Lanka, and this is one of the best countries which we can twin at that time, and we presented our HLPF report, which is VNR report, in the same session with one of the other countries, and we had, I think, 5 to 6 side events over there at the HLPF where we presented the VNR. So that was one of the unique case. And if you talk to each other from different countries, you will have a good experience that what are they doing, because we in journal quote examples of US, Sweden, Finland, Denmark, and some other countries who are who gives very good social protection, and they are developed countries basically. So while talking to the countries which are more of similar to your own country and they have similar problem like the other countries, then that's one of the thing. इसी तरह start कर देते हैं यार, ठीक है? I think the glitch is over, right? Okay. So this is the first VNR in 2019 which we have presented. Next slide, we have 2022, which we have presented. Karte jo aage yaar. Hello. Nikalte jaenge. This is the Pakistan VNR 2022. That's a glimpse of it. In the next slide, you will see 7 pillars of Vision 2025, which are aligned, very much aligned, very much mapped to all the SDGs. And that's what Professor Esanik said yesterday as well. In the next slide, we will have what we have achieved right now, which is a policy enabling environment. And we are quoting again and again and again in all the forums that we have adopted as a national agenda. It's not a UN agenda or any donor-driven agenda. It's a national agenda, it's a national obligation which we need to follow. We have established Parliamentary Task Force. This is one of the best things which we have done. Then we have SD support units, which are supporting each province, EJK, GB, and the federal level. And we have NEC subcommittee, which are basically the guide, giving us the guiding principles that what to do, how to move forward as far as the SDGs are concerned. And NEC is the largest forum. NEC means National Economic Council, as the largest forum, who is headed by the Prime Minister of Pakistan and attended by all the chief ministers. So whatever the decision made over there, that's the obligation for all the provinces and at the federal level that they have to implement it. So it's one of the best thing, among others, the best thing which we have done. Then we have integrated priorities and the framework, which we have completed in 2018. We are working on that, and it says that 42 leverage points, which are connected to all the other 169 targets, and those are the most important one. And if we involve in that, if we have investment in those 42 targets, then we will achieve most of the targets which are included in the 17 SDGs. And in the end, we have SDGs Achievement Program, which is a cabinet program, which is done through the a member of National Assemblies, a member of Provincial Assemblies, and it's a demand-driven project, which is which doesn't have much funds, but it is at the local level, covering water and sanitation, health, and education, and electricity as well. If we move to the next, the main focus for the last VNR, among others, was the COVID-19 and what the strategies we have made to overcome that problem. Though we have 31,000 deaths in COVID-19, but we have recovered very quickly from the COVID-19 crisis, and that was the biggest challenge. Next. Now I'm skipping these. We have worked on all the goals. We have reduced MMR from 186 to from 276 to 186. Not a remarkable improvement, but still the improvement is there. Poverty reduced by 2.4%. I'm not going one by one. If we move to the next, we have included goal 8, 9, 10, 7, 6, 12, 11, 13, 15, even 14, and then 16 as well. If we move to the next, we have included the innovation. So one was the localization challenge, then innovation. From innovation, we move to, next slide, legislative measures, which are very important. These are just the examples which have included in the VNR. So I'm just giving you the glimpse of VNR, that what we have included in that. Next, we had the new super shock, which we have included in the presentation, that after the Ukraine or Russia crisis, we have high inflation, balance of payment crisis, and in COVID, every country, every developed country have helped every other developing country. But in this Russian war, after Russian war, no one is helping us or the developing countries. Next, regional equalization, which we have started recently, protection policy. Next, the lessons learned from the VNR is the inclusivity and equity is key to sustainability. Everyone knows that, but that's what we have concluded in our report as well. Pakistan shows resilience to fight the COVID-19, reforms to turn around the social and economic threats towards the betterment. That's one of the things which we have started in August. Green financing, debt swap, green bonds, and all kinds of social bonds, even gender bonds, even climate bonds are there, which we need to exploit it. That's one of the major outcome of the stakeholder consultation, which we have done during the VNR. Regional connectivity and regional cooperation, for which we are here right now, that's one of the things, and the regional program which we need in the future. So moving to the next. Twinning program, I'm glad you have already explained. So Sri Lankan tour came here. We have learned a lot from them. Unfortunately, we didn't go there because of the crisis in Sri Lanka. I hope it's over by now. And then we had virtual sessions before and after that study tour. And we had a peer reviewed both the reports of Sri Lanka and Pakistan. Next. I was thinking that why VNR important, and we do all kind of multi-stakeholder consultations. If you are not there, we are here in Islamabad, we are here in we are in all the provinces. You may contact us anytime. It's not just that VNR is one of the activity and you cannot contact us after that. We are here. All the SDG unit is sitting in front of me on the sofas. So you may contact them and have their numbers, and you can contact us anytime. You can contact any person outside Pakistan here in the hall. So key areas of activity we have identified, projects in the pipeline we identified, and it seems like that for the last 3 to 5 years, we have been really working on sustainable development goals. We now really know what is sustainability, what is inclusivity, and what is equity. That's one of the things which we learned from VNR exercise, that people now are talking about it. Weaknesses of the system, that's part of the game. And one of the major things which everyone says, that we need resources. If we move to the next, and this is last slide, data along the line, ongoing progress and overall preparedness mentioned in the VNR identify the efforts needed to put into achieve SDGs. We are right now reporting 140 indicators. What are the total number? 247. But we are not reporting 247 indicators at all. So we are reporting 193. So still we are short of 50 indicators, which we need to have it. At the HLPF, we learned from the comments received on the VNR report. At the HLPF, through mutual discussion on the challenges we face in the implementation of SDGs that we have learned, and at the HLPF presentation on the side events give us many opportunities to interact with all of us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Alisa, for your extremely insightful presentation. Next, I'd like to call Professor Rana Singhe. Madam, over to you. And once again, humble request, in the interest of time, if you could restrict your intervention to 10 minutes. Over to you, ma'am.
Yes, until the presentation is loaded. Yes, Madam Chair, distinguished panel, delegates, invitees. On behalf of the Sustainable Development Council of Sri Lanka, and especially the Director General, I would like to thank SCAP, UN SCAP, and the government of Pakistan for organizing this very, very timely event, and especially getting countries together who are having similar problems to just work it out as to how we could work together to get over this crisis situation. So since the time is a constraint, I would start the presentation. I'll be talking about not so much actually this VNR report is which we submitted two, one in 2018 and the second one is 2022 It is available on the web under the Sustainable Development Council website. And we have brought some copies also for those who like to have a look. Not so much achievements which we can read, but here we are here to discuss the challenges that we face and the measures that countries have taken to get over them, and how we could work together to, collectively to overcome it. Okay, next one. So just want to diagrammatically show that when we submitted our 2018 VNR, we didn't have these problems. But since then, we had COVID-19, which affected not only us, but the entire world. Then we had a special case, Easter attack, which happened also in 2019, which really damaged our tourism drastically. And still, with all this, we are trying to get back to where we were. And then, of course, the recent crisis, the economic downfall and the dollar crisis, which still we are grappling with. And in fact, our Deputy Secretary in the morning mentioned about the dire financial situation that we are in. So in the landscape of all this, we submitted the VNR 2022, which encompassed almost all the sectors and almost all the SDG goals also, and just portrait where we are now. Next one. So now I said, I'm not going through what we did, but okay, how in economy and strengthening partnerships. Next one. So value-added services, value-added products, especially export industry, and financial services, ICT services, and tourism by leveraging suitable innovations and strategic joint ventures to untap the potential in international markets. So for that, we need your support also. So we can't do it alone because export is not within country. So in fact, in the earlier session, it was mentioned that, transport, marketing, we are so close, but still so far. And perhaps India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, you're in the same continent, but then even to transport goods from one country to another, it will take a long, long time. In fact, I came from Sri Lanka to Pakistan, and I think it took me many, many, many hours to come here. But I went to Russia recently, and it took only 9 hours. So we have to think about these things. The blocks that we have, maybe like the airline, the services that needs to be improved, these schedules and so forth. That's how you improve markets and also tourism. And Sri Lanka ranked 95th among 132 countries in Global Innovation Index in 2021, which was recorded by the World Intellectual Property Organization. Next one. So, but we have many constraints in that arena. What are they? Low R&D expenditure. So you can't innovate without doing research. And well, in Sri Lanka, the allocation for research and development is very small, even much smaller than our South Asian neighbors. It's 0.11% of the total GDP. Well, compared to other countries, correct me if I'm wrong, Pakistan 0.25, Nepal 0.3, and India 0.7, but this is some World Bank database, but you can update me since all of you are here. And 98% of industries are either micro and small, medium. and it produces 52% of the GDP. So therefore, all these crises hit them very, very badly. So therefore, it was very difficult to get back to where it was. Unlike large industries, which really have huge safety nets. And weakness in ICT infrastructure, despite the introduction of personal data protection. I mean, it's not too bad, but still, I mean, still we need a long way to go in ICT, yeah. And next one. So some efforts taken to address this. SME policy framework to promote high potential SMEs and to improve business, and vocational training programs in is there in the national policy on technical and vocational training to improve the skills, because it is very important to improve the skills of the small and medium enterprises. Then only, I mean, the contribution of them and also the value addition can be expected. Next one. So another one is blue-green economy. Yes, we're talking a lot about environment, environmental sustainability. SDG is really about environment. Environment is really, multi-pronged. You just can't separate out economic, social, and ecological all in one cup. So SDGs align to the policies of the country to transform into a blue-green economy, addressing both the resources on land and ocean related towards sustainable management. So I have heard in earlier presentations also, almost all the countries mention carbon net zero. I'll come to that soon. So everybody, although we all emit very little compared to the global average, we still had got together because we know that it is a very important thing that to address the climate change is very important. So therefore, we have done pledges, which is phenomenal, which is really great. So Sri Lanka also. So SDG framework aligns itself to that as well as to the country's national development agenda, which is the way to go, or otherwise it can't operate on its own. Next one. So some key interventions taken in the country towards this blue-green economy is submission of the national determined contributions for 2021 to 2030, including 9 adaptation sectors and 5 mitigation sectors. And also we are at the moment preparing this implementation plan with monitors, KPIs and monitoring program, which is very crucial. And then pledge to become net zero in carbon emissions by 2050, a renewable energy share to be 70% by 2030. And well, I don't think we'll ever be able to achieve it, but to be 100 if possible by 2050. But what it says is that we'd like to increase our renewable energy share very much. And access to safe drinking water is 89%, and safe sanitation is 97% at the moment, which is good. And promote climate resilient integrated water management to strengthen climate resilience in communities. So this SDG 13 is very much in action in entire country's national policies and programs. Next one. So this is just very close. Quickly, I'll run through some plans that we have in achieving this blue-green economy. Energy sector, electricity generation, as I said, to increase the share of renewable energy, and also demand side management to be affected. Next one. Next one, please. Transport to resort to public transport systems, promote e-mobility, introduce carbon pricing instruments, and also policies like this charging and increasing parking fees, as well as yes, and improving asset management. And also this, like online, I mean, this is fine. Not everybody had to come to Pakistan because so many people participated online. So, I mean, this should really move. Even in offices, you don't have to come every day. I mean, you can work at home, which is also as effective. So it reduces the emissions and it reduces so much on our budgets as well as saves the environment. Next one. industry sector, since time is limited, just resort to life cycle assessments and like cleaner production and circular economic concept. Next one. A waste sector also adapting to circular economy to reduce waste. Next one. Agriculture, well, the sectors which emanates a lot of greenhouse gases like the paddy cultivation, livestock, and also the nitrogen, there are policies and programs to reduce it very much. Next one. And forestry sector to increase to reduce the deforestation and increase the tree cover or the forest cover in the forest areas as well as trees outside forest. Next one. So just these sectors cannot work on its own. It's very much linked. Okay. Next one. So challenges for this is economic downturn affected by COVID and all these things really led to think short term. I mean, not so much to allocate money, which has benefits long term, which is really a problem in the long run. And unsustainable consumption and production patterns also continues despite COVID. People think we have got over it. Okay. So the partnerships at the moment, despite the fact that current environment of the economic downturn, it had been difficult to mobilize adequate resources towards SDGs because that had been the problem and the challenge. But initiatives had been taken to expand the portfolio of free trade agreements and looking forward to establish an international trade office to deal with the international trade. And efforts have been taken to simplify the procedures to guarantee the ease of doing things so that investment can be attracted easily. Next one. And we have prepared the investor map. We have taken all the possible sectors and prepared an investor map, and most of the countries also had done the same, I'm sure, so that this will really, enhance the operationalize of the SDGs in the country as well as with the neighbors. And way forward is, as mentioned, that's been repeatedly mentioned in our deliberations here, South-South cooperation. In fact, yes, I'm very, I really can recall what Ms. Rajan said. We are in the same countries, just neighboring countries, but it's so difficult to do business with our neighbor, but we might do business with a, very far country. I mean, we have so many issues, in country and inter-country. We have to get over them. South-South, we are really the brethren. We have to work together and sort it out together. And also we had to get support from North-South, and especially with regard to climate action, there's so many opportunities to do that. And next one, please. Next one. So, okay, next one is last one. Sri Lanka looks forward to strengthen partnerships and foster international cooperation to accelerate our recovery and realize our vision for inclusive, transformative nation through realizing SDG 2030 agenda is not only Sri Lanka's vision, I think the vision of all of us who are gathered here. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Professor Ranasinghe. I must say that Sri Lanka has made some extremely impressive progress and achieved great milestones. Moving on to other SSWA countries. Firstly, I'd like to invite Mr. Mohammad Masood Rana Chaudhary. Sir, in the interest of time, I'll request you to please keep your interventions limited to 5 minutes. Over to you, sir.
This is the time for lunch, I know that, and I'm not courageous enough to take more time from you. And I would like to ensure our master of the ceremony that I will confine within that time. Actually, one of my senior colleagues from Prime Minister's Office of Bangladesh has made my life more easier, because in the first session, he has mentioned many things about Bangladesh SDG progress. That's why that I will not take a long time. Respected chair, distinguished guest, and lovely participants in front of me. I'd like to thank the organizer for organizing such an effective event at the very critical time the world is passing through. Actually, you are all, you are aware that Bangladesh is acclaimed for its implementation of FDGs, MDGs, right timely, and very good at attainment of MDGs. And based on the expertise and experiences of MDG progress, implementation progress, Bangladesh government has adopted a whole of society approach to implement SDGs. Bangladesh has already participated in the voluntary national review of SDGs for the first time in 2017 and second time in 2020. The VNR documents, the latest one, that is 2020, document have been prepared following the participatory approach. And Bangladesh Voluntary National Review 2021 was prepared just immediate before the COVID started. You know that the VNR process 2020 has identified that there are some indicators of SDGs which have already been achieved or on track against the target set for 2020 in Bangladesh. Poverty has declined from 40% in 2005 to 20.5% in 2019, a period when the life expectancy at birth has increased from 65 years to 72.6 years. But I am not mentioning many because my colleague has already mentioned in the first session. However, the VNR process has identified some challenges as well: reducing income inequality, reduction of absolute number of poor people, ensuring food security, ensuring universal health coverage, and ensuring quality education at multi-level educational streams, inadequate infrastructure to meet the demand of urban amenities, facilities, primary healthcare, wastewater treatment, collection and disposal of urban solid waste, transportation services are still remain concerned. Bangladesh, being a climatically vulnerable country, will require undertaking measures to reduce exposure to adaptation and mitigation of climate change, which will be challenging. Finally, increase domestic resource mobilization, particularly increasing the tax GDP ratio at the desired level, will be challenging. You know that while the global leaders have been spearheading the 2030 development agenda, the world has seen a deadly pandemic, COVID-19, that has created an impasse in every sphere of life. Bangladesh was not out of this. But to overcome the COVID pandemic adversity, government of Bangladesh has already incorporated proper strategies into its 8th five-year plan. The national response is being overseen by our Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, who has outlined the directives for the citizens for their health and safety. And following the guidelines of our Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, the government undertook a comprehensive economic recovery program containing 28 fiscal and stimulus packages to the amount of $22.08 billion to facilitate the implementation of these strategies and to overcome the COVID pandemic challenges. Finally, I'd like to mention that international cooperation, multilateral